Hi friends, welcome to Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I'm Jenny. We live here and garden here in Baltimore, Maryland, Zone 7. Today I am working on the planting areas that are adjacent to the lower patio that we just had installed last week. So there are some things here that I want to keep. There are some things here I want to take out. There are some things maybe I'll put in. So come with me and let's start working on this area. I hope you followed along with me on my hardscaping updates where I was showing how the guys built these retaining walls down the slope to give me some more planting space on the hill that we have in our backyard. And down here in this lower patio area, I have already put in this golden globe arborvitae that was there. It had to be moved to make room for construction, and then now it's back. And I also put in a few hostas right there. But now I want to address the rest of this planting space. Between the golden globe and the rose arbor, this is a Chinese snowball viburnum that I want to grow up into a small tree shape. And then back in here, this is behind the rose arbor garden area. There are several things here that I think some of them will stay, some of them will go. This is Loropetalum, that's ever red Chinese fringe flower. And then there's some penstemon. There's some ditch lilies, daylilies, orange ones. That is the stalk of a bronze fennel. And then over there are some wild violets. There are some serendipity alliums kind of tucked underneath here. And then back on the front side of the rose arbor, this used to be the dividing line between the front and back gardens. Over here in this area, there's some phlox, some more daylilies. There's a boxwood over there. There's some liriope just holding a place there, and some weeds, of course, etc. So I want to clean this out. Now that I'm down in this patio, you know what? Let me turn the camera around. That'll be better. Okay, now when we sit on the chairs in the patio, I can see kind of underneath this Chinese snowball. And I want to limit up a little bit further because eventually I do want to grow into a small tree, 15 or 20 feet tall here. Sort of like Linda Vaughters. She was my inspiration. But then underneath here we have more wild violets. This is a phlox, daylilies back there, boxwood, liriope, weeds. And I kind of want to clean that all out. And underneath there, also on the other side of the viburnum, there's some serendipity alliums. And everything is a little bit too crowded together. This was fine when they were young, when this viburnum was young, but now you can see that the plants are starting to be up in the business of the viburnum. Also, from this view, it's just not as pretty. So I want to take out the things that are too tall. I want to take out the weeds, and I want to leave it blank for a minute, but then I might think about putting some low-growing hostas down in there. I think that might look nice. Or some other low-growing, shade-loving perennials. We'll see. So I've made pretty good progress cleaning out underneath the Chinese snowball. And I think for today, I'm not going to plant anything else there. Let's take a look and see how clean and fresh it looks. Yeah, so now when you're sitting on these chairs over here and you're looking roughly as if you're sitting on the ground over underneath these shrubs, it looks really clean. It looks really neat. I'm thinking under here, I'm not going to probably do hostas, but maybe heucheras or tiarellas, or maybe just simple ground covers like a juga, or maybe some lamium or brunera, stuff like that. Stuff that can handle shade and that would be a nice, neat ground cover. So I'm pretty happy with the way that is coming together. So now let's look over this side. This, I think I mentioned, is a Loropetalum. It didn't really thrive here. It's not very thick. It's pretty sparse. I might be just a little bit too cold for it here in zone 7. It says it's hardy in zone 7 through 9, and we are 7B, but I don't know, it just didn't really thrive. I'm hoping that it'll come back though, because I do want some burgundy reddish sort of foliage around in here. So I'm gonna keep this watered, keep it fertilized, and hope that this rebounds next growing season. Over here, this is Husker Red Penstemon, and it blooms in the spring or early summer, and then you cut the stalks back down, and then it's just a nice, neat ground cover. This is the stalk of a yellow star cactus type dahlia, and I had to cut it all back because it really got a mess from rainstorms, from squirrels climbing on it, and who knows what else. So my plan for this is to dig up the tubers and not try to store them over the winter, but I'm going to try to just plant them up in one of the terrace beds. And because we're zone 7, dahlias can live in the ground over the winter. So I'm just going to move this one. And then this is the clump of bronze fennel. I had to cut it back while the guys were building the patio because it was in their way. So I'm going to move this root ball also, and I'm going to move it up into one of these terrace beds. So now on this back side, it's cleared out. I got the alliums out of there. And once I move the fennel and move this dahlia, I'll be able to start putting things into this area. Now, I'm just so excited because I've never really had space for a nursery bed, you know, a place where you can put things temporarily until you know where they want to go permanently. And now I do. I've got 3 nursery beds for this winter, honestly. And so these are plants that I'm storing that I've taken out of places, but I don't know where they're going yet. So here are the serendipity alliums that I just took out by the rose arbor. Here is the Bright Eyes phlox that I just took out from under the Snowball ligustrum. And all these others that are in here are other plants that I've taken out of various places in the backyard, and I'm waiting to know where I want to put them until I get some other major elements back in place. So that's what I did with those. So let's take a look at this from this perspective. It's still nice and clean. Sounds like we have a fire truck coming through the neighborhood. Nice and clean. We'll have 3 hostas here next year. I'll be able to put something in front here. I don't know what yet. And then over here, under here is pretty cleared out. This liriope can go wherever. It doesn't have to stay there. This is the Cat's Pajamas Nepeta that I just installed recently, probably in, I believe it was late July or early August. There's one on both sides of the arbor, so I want to keep that there. This is a tomato in a container, and it will be done, you know, when it's done from the end of the summer. And this is a green mountain boxwood, and there's one over there too. So, and there is a rose on this arbor, but the rose failed this year, and it's now just little tiny sprigs down there. It's not doing very well at all, so I might have to replace that rose. Anyway, so in this area here, it's now nice and cleared out and feels good. Well, I had to play around with the positioning of this azalea, but I was able to finally get it into a position where I think it's going to be nice. I can keep it trimmed to a size that fits this space. Having this plant here on this corner helps you not cut the corner off too much. I eventually want to have a path that meets up with the grass over there and curves around, so this will help define where to walk and where not to walk. Also, you may have noticed that I planted it a couple of inches above the soil height. That's because we have clay soil here, and sometimes plants' roots can drown in the heavy clay. So I didn't want that to happen. So I raised it up a little bit, and so any extra water will run off down the hill, and that'll be fine. I also believe that once this lower pedalum fills in, I'm hoping it'll fill in and flush out and be a little bit more dense. If it doesn't, I'm going to take it out because I want a dense red shrub here, not a spindly one. So I'm going to give it next year, 2023. If it doesn't shape up between now and then, out it goes. But if it does shape up and get denser, then I'm just going to keep it trimmed at this low height, probably no more than 3 feet around. And I think that that'll fit nicely with the brighter, almost chartreuse green of this azalea. Now this azalea is called Sherwood Purple Orchid, something like that. And so I have, I think, 4 or 5 of these spread around the backyard, and it's a nice, beautiful, bright pinkish purple in the springtime. There's a white azalea back there and another one back there. There's another azalea right over there that I'm going to be moving around into a different location in this patio area as well, but maybe not today. So yeah, so this is what we're looking like right now. I like it. Lulu's checking it out. She thinks we're doing a good job. So this grass pathway is going to curve. I'm not sure I'm going to put grass in here, or maybe stones, or just a different color mulch, or maybe nothing. I don't know. But anyway, the pathway will come around this way, around this azalea, and onto the patio from the back side. This azalea is kind of lopsided. It looks wider than it is deep, for sure. And this feels like it was the back. There's not much growth down here, and then most of the growth is on this side of it, which probably used to be the front. But I think the shape of this, first of all, it can be changed. I can easily take off this whole branch if I wanted to, and I can shape the whole thing up. And also, though, I like the shape that it is, and I like that it's kind of more natural and layered and I don't know, unpretentious, I think. Now this orange is contractor temporary lawn paint, marking paint. So that will either wash off in the rain or eventually it'll fade away. Okay, so now this bed is looking way better than it was when I started. Got a lot of things out, put that in, and made space for the path to go this way. Looking pretty good. Looking at it from this left side of the back, I also like it. It just feels like a clean slate. In fact, if I wanted a really clean slate, I could take out that Husker Red penstemon and move it. But for now, I don't have a better place for it, and it can be fine right there. So progress, little by little, making progress. And one last vantage point. This little crescent-shaped garden here is shaping up to be a very nice little shrub border. I can picture it when it's all fresh with new green spring growth and a nice layer of mulch, which I don't have yet. Yeah, it's coming together. Well, folks, I think I'm going to call it a day now. I've made a little bit of progress here on this bed, and I'm pretty pleased with how it's coming together. It looks fresh, it looks clean, and I have now a temporary nursery bed up here on my lowest terrace. So thank you for joining me today. If you have suggestions for what I could do in this area, let me know. I'm hoping to not let it turn into a mishmash of things that I randomly plop down here because I happen to find something pretty at the garden center. I do that so much everywhere in my garden. I mean, I make plans, but then I don't follow them. So I'm really trying to be more thoughtful about what I put into here. So if you have any more suggestions for me, I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're having a great day in your garden, friends. And we'll be back again very soon in another video with more progress on the different gardens around our Harmony Hills property. Have a great one. Bye-bye.